Hey guys, CR Classics here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a video about a not so classic car. We're going to be doing a video about this Tesla Model 3 after a year of ownership. It's been just under a year actually since those last two videos that I made and put on the channel about taking delivery of the car and 5 good and 5 not so good things about it, which you guys really seem to like. I understand that a lot of you are here for the Lotus content, and there will be more of that very shortly. But I just thought I'd let you know what we found out about this car over a year of ownership. As you know, it's not my car, it's a family member's car, but I have been living with it over this time, and we've had a long conversation about how he's found it driving it, and how we've all found it as a family living with it. So there's been some really good things about it, but there's also been some pretty terrible things as well, a few things that have broken very recently as well, which is quite poor. But we'll get into that, and so without further ado, let's crack on. Right guys, so let's start with the good things about this car. Where do we start? Right, we've had, as I said, we've had this car for 12 months. We've used it in all manner of conditions, from when it was super hot in the UK, and it was about 30 or 32 degrees, to not so many weeks ago now when it was freezing cold and there was snow everywhere. So let's start with the snow. We took the car out multiple times on some pretty grueling little journeys, actually, up little, because we live in the country here, so up lots of country roads which were sheet ice. Pretty tough conditions for any car, but obviously this being the long range model has the all-wheel drive, has the motor at each corner of the car, and it coped miraculously. I can't think of a time when it struggled to get up at all. We tried the slip control it's got as well on it, for mud and when you're literally stuck somewhere, and that was amazing as well. So this car can drive in snow or ice and not struggle at all, which is amazing, because at the end of the day this is a £42,000 car, not cheap, but when you compare it to the likes of the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class, they wouldn't be able to cope in those conditions. But this pulled you up any hill. All the hills we tried, it pulled us up with ease. So, and in comfort with your heated seats on and Netflix on the screen if you were stopped and in a safe place. In the heat, the car's brilliant. Maybe a little bit too bright, but you know, you can't have a go at Tesla for that. We did pick white seats in this car, and with that sunroof, that huge full-length sunroof, it can get a bit bright in here, but that's not too much of an issue. It doesn't get as hot as you think it'd get in here. No, they say something like 99% of heat or light doesn't come through the roof, but apart from that, the seat heaters and things like that are brilliant. As I mentioned in the last video, everything this car comes with is really good. It's very well equipped. The only thing I would say, which I also said in that last video, is that there's no rear heated seat controls at the back. You've got to ask the person sat in the front to turn them on, which is a little bit weird. So they don't have that option at the back, and they have to ask the superior beings at the front to put them on. The range, the dreaded range on all electric cars, they say, I think this car you can charge up to around 300 miles, or they say just over, I think it's 320 off the top of my head. We can't charge this car up to 300 miles, no matter where you charge it, no matter if you're at a Tesla point or at home. You can set the car to how much you want it to charge. If you want it to charge to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 or 100%. If we set it to charge to 100%, it charged to, I think it's about 280 or 290 miles. So not 320 as Tesla states, although I imagine that's them taking into account the regenerative braking on this car, but that doesn't give you an extra 30 miles. I don't really care what they say, it simply doesn't. So like most electric car manufacturers, they're a little bit generous when they come to telling you how much range you're going to get. But apart from that, it's brilliant. The charging network is brilliant. We haven't done many, if any, long journeys in this car due to COVID, but there are Tesla chargers everywhere. We're in quite a remote part of the UK, we're in Herefordshire, and it's still quite good. You know, all the main motorways have them, which is great. Driving position is great. You're nice and high up. The bonnet fades away underneath, which is a bit like a Lotus, a bit like a modern Lotus, an Exige or an Elise or something like that, where it looks like you can only just see the road, so you haven't got a big bonnet in front of you, which is really, really nice. It's quite a sporty driving position, which is nice, and it's nice and comfy, and it is a nice place to be. So those are the good points about this car. Now let's get on to the bad. So guys, now on to the bad bits about this car. Let's start with the most recent. So a few times when getting in and out of the car, you clipped your leg, or let's say you clipped your leg, and you hear a little cracking sound or a little clipping sound, right? And I've wondered for a while what that is. And it's one of those things where you're going somewhere and you don't really spend too much time thinking about it. You think, oh, what was that? Look down, nothing there. Okay, so a few days ago we heard that sound, and once again no one really knew what it was, and we got in the car a couple of days after that, and these little controls down here, these little things that stick out, that control your seat, as you can see, going back and forward, and that's your lumbar support in the middle, and this one down here is what controls your seat going backwards and forwards, which I can't show you. You know why I can't show you? Because it's snapped off. Now you'll see on the other side that there should be a little plastic cover that goes over there, and all three of these stick out, apart from that one which is a bit more pushed in. And as I said, these are to control your electric seats. Now they are right next to where you get in and out of the car. So you get in the car, you put your foot there, you bring that foot in, which goes right next to them there. So as you can see, that's quite a risky place, and a lot of companies put their seat controls, electric seat controls, a bit more flush, a bit like that, yeah? So it's not really anything that you can snap off, but Tesla for some reason decided to put them so they stick out like this, which really isn't a good idea. So that snapped off, the top's fallen somewhere where we don't know where it's fallen, so it's now lost, and the seat, you can't move it forward or backwards, and people in our family, I'm a different height to a different member of my family, so the seat when we sit in the front has got to be, you know, at a different setting, so that's now made it quite tricky, and we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so we're thinking, how the hell are we going to get this fixed? So we ring Tesla. Tesla say, well, yeah, that's actually a very, very common problem. Lots of people have had that happen. What you need to do is bring it into us, either in Bristol or Birmingham, which is about a good hour and a half away from us, which we don't want to do in the middle of what's going on at the moment, because it'd be silly to go into a big city like that. So we said, no, we're not doing that. Is there anything else you can do? And they said, we can send someone out to your home to fix it on your drive, and we can do it on Monday. At this point I believe it was Friday, Thursday or Friday, so we thought that's very good. They said then on the weekend we had a text to say you're booked in to take your car to Bristol to be fixed, and we thought that's not what we've arranged. We've arranged for someone to come to the drive to fix it, and they said after, well, about 5 or 6 phone calls to Bristol and to Birmingham, to Bristol to Birmingham, to Bristol to Birmingham, they said where you live is in the middle of both of our ranges, so they kept saying it was the other person's job to fix it. We're in their area of operations, and the other Tesla base said the same. So after a good few phone calls with them, they have found out whose it is, whose job it is to come and fix it, and it is Bristol's. And each division has been brilliant when we've spoken to them. Really nice, really helpful, as they were when we got the car. I mean, it took a good 8 months to get the car, but as soon as it was in the UK side of Tesla were really good and kept us up to date with where our car was at all times and what was going on with it. So anyway, so they've agreed to come and fix it next Tuesday, which is just over a week away, which will be really good. But what they've said is they know that it's a problem. It was an oversight on their design, so I presume in the next Tesla you'd hope that they'd be more like that, the controls. They'd be more like this little circular one here, which is a bit more flush to the seat, so you can't catch anything on it, unlike these which stick out. So that's quite a bad thing that's happened over the last few days, week or so. That's just a oversight in design from these guys. But yeah, on to the next bad point. So guys, the next bad bit about the Tesla Model 3 that we found over the last year is the boot. Now, they advertise this as quite a selling point of the car, as if you fold those seats down in there, you do get quite a big boot if you look at it. But the thing that does take it away is this, the height of this, because of this huge panoramic sunroof that they've decided to put in. It's meant that the access for the boot itself is, tiny. I mean, that's the space you've got. I mean, you can fit a lot of stuff in there, but you can't get it past this point, which makes things quite awkward. And as well, another Tesla design sort of oversight. So let's say it's raining quite heavily, you open your boot, water, straight in your boot. Not ideal. Obviously that wasn't a good idea, but this is again Tesla's vision of having this lovely sunroof, which does look amazing. You feel bad just calling it a sunroof because it is so much more. It adds so much more to the car, and it is standard with every Model 3, which is amazing when you compare it to things like Mercedes and BMW. But that boot, although it is great, as in, for this size of car it is great, I don't think this sunroof had to come down this much. I think they'd have been okay stopping it there and allowing a hatchback in this, really, just to allow you, a more practical boot. But not awful, but just another tiny little thing for Tesla. I can probably see a bit of a running theme through this video is it's just Tesla's attention to detail and finishing the cars and making sure that they've got these little tiny things right that Mercedes and BMW have. I keep mentioning them because they are the competitors, and they are class leaders in quality. Now, Tesla, I know they haven't been going long, but they're trying to take over the industry, and they're not going to do it with things like this. So when we got the car, it's got all little things on it, like where the paint finish has just been poor. You can see filler here in this little gap. I'm sure you can see on the video. There's filler in that little gap where it just hasn't been painted properly, or it's worn off. And you can tell by looking at the car. If I get out of the way, if you guys look at the car, you can tell that the paint is thin. It's a thin finish. And I know the technology is there. The technology, what you're paying for, is under there. You're paying for the Tesla technology, and you're paying for that screen in the middle and everything that comes with that, which is great. But if they could partner it up with the quality of people like Mercedes and BMW, with paint finish, nicer wheels, a bit better quality interior. They've got an amazing sound system in there, which is great. But if they could just touch up those little things like the oversight in the boot, the oversight with the electric seats, the oversight in the paint finish, they could just touch those little things up, they wouldn't have much competition. So after living with it for a year, that's my roundup. The numbers, you can't deny, are amazing. There's no other batteries out there like Tesla's at the moment. The performance is, you know, supercar performance for a quarter of the price. The style, you either love it or you hate it. I think I quite like it. There's certain angles where it doesn't look great, but as you know, it's not the finished article yet. And would I choose an electric car, not necessarily a Tesla, but an electric car, judging on where they are at the moment with the technology, over something that's small but practical, fun, sounds good, can get me good MPG, not free, but good MPG that's a quarter of the price of one of these? I'll definitely go for one of these at the moment. They're just not quite there. This has been CR Classics, telling you all about the year that I've had with the Tesla Model 3, but I'll still choose my little pocket rocket. See you next time, guys. CR Classics out. Oh, and guys, please can you like, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. It means the world to me, and it means I can keep making videos like this for you guys to enjoy. See you next time.